So let's shift gears. The whole idea, and it's a pivot from what was just said about the need for a registry, information collection. So electronic health records, are they contributing to efficiency, or are they an impediment to efficiency? Now, we know for a fact that 30 to 40% of the information in an electronic health record is not correct in a doctor's note. CMS did a study where they looked at ER positive, just ER positive versus ER negative, and 48% of the time it was wrong in the note. So the idea that capturing big data from the back end of information without it having a CRO type function to detect the validity of the data is one thing that's in question. But of equal importance is the idea of that an EHR is the format through which we're going to drive out variance, is what's being promoted today. So how do you find the use of an EHR in your practice, and what do you think about the utility of an EHR and its translation to quote-unquote big data?
Yeah, I think there's huge variability in the way physicians use EMRs. And it's driven largely by the fact that they are clunky, they require extra work to use right, and so people find workarounds. So in our EMR, there is a place to do staging. You have to go to that, you have to work through the staging, you have to check boxes. So what do half the doctors do? They dictate the stage in their note, and it never goes in the box, and it's not retrievable. So I don't think that EMRs are doing, in that sense, what they necessarily were promised to do, and it's because the entry of information is so difficult. If you have an EMR that is robust, why can't it have a browser that goes to pathology note and populates the staging for T and M from the pathology note, and then all the doctor has to do is add whether it's metastatic or not? That kind of technology ought to be able to be brought into EMRs. But the other part, I think, is, we talked about the fact that right now we've got level 3, level 4 notes. I worry about what Medicare is going to require in a bundled system, because I also work in the hospice world. And hospice is paid a daily rate regardless of what you document. And those nurses are spending tremendous amounts of time documenting because Medicare doesn't believe they're providing the services that they're supposed to be doing. And so now, instead of documenting so you get paid, you're going to be documenting so you can prove that you should have gotten paid.
Yeah, I'll go one further on you. The idea about note cloning being a crime is an interesting phenomenon that's occurring. So
Is there a statute of limitations on that? I certainly hope so.
So in any other industry, the idea that you're going to standardize processes of transfer of information to minimize it so you can spend more time on doing the things you need to be doing, this is a home run. Tell me a legal document that was originally written that you've ever seen and it wasn't quote-unquote cloned. But yet, in medicine, it's a problem. You didn't provide the service because you didn't document. So if we're trying to increase efficiency, if we're worried about fewer doctors and more people with cancer and increasing throughput, but yet we want people to sit down and write an original tome every time they see a patient, how are we going to do this?
I have no idea. So the truth of the matter is that electronic medical records, by and large, developed in the absence of consultation with practicing physicians. They're highly inefficient and often, as you've pointed out, contain inaccurate or incomplete information. The truth of the matter, though, is if we kind of take a step back, the aspiration of what those records could provide in terms of improving care is still a worthy aspiration. Actually, Jeff and I worked on the same EMR for many, many years with US Oncology, and I was one of the biggest cheerleaders because it had very real benefits, but people could not see the more global benefit of us actually being able to learn. So the question is whether things like CancerLink or what Flatiron Health does or NantHealth or any of these other companies where they attempt to take unstructured data and make some sense of it, I think is a really interesting idea. And I think it may be the only way that we can collect meaningful real-world data in a scale that will allow us to make healthcare decisions.
Ultimately, you want to be putting in your medical record not proof that you did something. You want to be putting in there things that are important.
Absolutely.
to the information to have that conveys that what has happened, that are things you want to be able to go back and collect. I want to be able to have my partner who's on cover on the weekend look at the note and in a quick, salient way be able to understand all the important things about that patient and be able to do it quickly and easily. Not have a note that the important thing is, did I do a 12-point review of systems?
Right, exactly.
And I think that if you move to a reimbursement system that instead of focusing on fee-for-service, so for example, the ASCO model actually uses, the second part of the ASCO model uses bundles, but they are disease-agnostic bundles. They are mini bundles, if you will, so you get paid a monthly fee instead of a long fee. It's not including the drugs, but it's including all the things you do in your clinic. It now allows you within that bundle to innovate, to use your people at the highest level of their license. It fits very well within a medical oncology home kind of concept. And then you say, now these are the quality measures that you need to document too. So measure to the quality of the care and the important things that you're doing instead of my note. Now you have an EMR that is parallel to what you really want to provide, which is high quality care.
So maybe you can expand on that.